Two fatal hit and runs in January in Rockford sparked concern from some people on what should be done to keep drivers and pedestrians safe. WIFR News reporter Anthony Ferretti talks with a representative of the Region 1 Planning Council who says everyone must do their part to prevent this problem.
One fatality on our transportation network is unacceptable.
With two fatal hit and runs in 8 days in Rockford, some residents worry for pedestrian safety.
I have signs on my post outside that says watch out for motorcycles. Maybe I should put one that says watch out for pedestrians.
Mr. C's owner John Conforti says there aren't any sidewalks in the area to get from place to place, and he wants to see more foot traffic.
I got a bike rack outside, I told you. There have been 5 bikes parked in there since I put it out, and it's been there for a few years.
The R1 Planning Council created a traffic safety plan for the Rockford metro area. It will adopt performance measures from the Illinois Department of Transportation and use that to identify local spaces that are less safe.
It is just the first step in, as I mentioned before, looking at infrastructure that's needed to make a safer environment.
That plan could play a role in reducing fatal hit and runs. A woman was killed January 25th near State in Springfield. 8 days earlier, a man was hit on the Auburn Street Bridge. There were 2 fatal hit and runs within hours of each other in November.
It's a concern that I have in the community with the number of accidents that have taken place.
City Council member Jeff Bailey says he will monitor complaints, look into them, and if needed, allocate capital improvement funds.
As long as we have that budget, I'll appropriate the funds as well as listen to residents regarding, their input and their concerns.
In Rockford, Anthony Ferretti, WIFR News.
The Rockford Fire Department urges people to wear reflective clothing at night and drivers to be careful at night and avoid distractions at the wheel.